Hey guys, Josh from SoccerReviewsForYou.com, bringing you a comparison video today between the entire Nike FC247 Elastico indoor line. This line is made up of 3 individual models, with the top end model being the Elastico Finale 2 with a retail price of $110 US, the first takedown being the Elastico Pro 2 with a retail price of $80 US, and the second takedown being the Elastico 2 with a retail price of $60 US. I feel like every single model in this particular lineup definitely has something to offer, which is what we're going to cover in today's video. Keep in mind that if you are interested in purchasing any of these 3 models, be sure to refer to the review pages on my website. All 3 will be linked in the description of this video, and on each individual review page you will find buy it now links with the best prices online, including exclusive SR4U coupon codes, allowing you to get every single model that I just named for significantly lower than the actual retail prices. So just keep that in mind if you are interested in purchasing any of the shoes you see in today's video. Again, links are in the description. With all of that being said, let's get right into the video. When it comes to touch, the Elastico line is more or less all about providing a barefoot, low-profile feel for the ball, and I think that every individual model in the line does provide that to a certain extent. Now, starting off with the top-end Finale 2, of course you're getting Nike's premium Nike Skin synthetic upper, the exact same upper material found on the very popular Hypervenom Phantom. Now, Nike Skin synthetic features a mesh base layer woven in what is essentially a honeycomb pattern. You guys can see that is what gives the upper its texturing, and then over top of that mesh base layer, you're going to find membrane layers of polyurethane fused over top, which is essentially what makes up Nike Skin. It's finished off with a slightly waxy finish, which provides a little bit of additional grip on the ball, but for the most part, what makes Nike Skin great is that it provides the barefoot feel that a lot of people like from their soccer shoes, while also providing a very comfortable, flexible feel that you might expect from a natural leather soccer shoe. It's very difficult to explain how Nike Skin feels, and I really recommend trying it out if you haven't already. And what's great about the Elastico Finale 2 is that you can try out Nike Skin for under $100. Again, you can get some really good prices on these on my website, SoccerReviewsForYou.com. There will be a direct link in the description, whereas otherwise, if you want to try Nike Skin, you have to buy the $225 Hypervenom Phantom, which is, of course, a lot more expensive. And then when it comes to quality synthetic indoor soccer shoes, really at this point in time, nothing even comes close to the Elastico Finale 2. If you're looking for that low profile barefoot feel, Nike Skin is an amazing synthetic. It provides an extremely close touch on the ball, but at the same time, that mesh base layer provides a slight amount of cushion that is extremely difficult to explain, but once you feel it, you'll definitely know what I'm talking about, and I'm guaranteeing you that you will absolutely love the feel of this particular shoe. Now, moving on to the mid-tier model, this is the Elastico Pro 2, and it features a combination of synthetic materials. At the front here, where you see this seam going through the forefoot and then cutting off right here on the inside, this front area is what Nike calls GT synthetic. Now, from what I can tell, it does appear to be, or feels like, a mesh base layer with this kind of grid pattern synthetic material fused over top. That little bit of texturing does add a little bit of grip on the ball, and then of course you're going to have that kind of gritty rubberized coating going around the forefoot and toe box area, which is not only going to enhance your grip on the ball, just provide a little bit more of it, I should say, but it's also going to strengthen the bond between the sole plate and upper, hopefully enhancing the durability of the boot. Now, honestly, this area feels very, very good. I like the quality of the synthetic. It's soft, it's flexible, and like I said, provides that nice barefoot feel that I was expecting from this particular shoe. The tongue is an ultra thin mesh material, so there's no added bulk there, and you can see that this fused midfoot area is also very, very thin. It's basically just a thin layer of mesh with this fuse over top and this kind of unique pattern. It's there, 1 for looks as well as 2 for stability. And like I said, if you're looking for a high quality barefoot feel, you're going to get that from the Elastico Pro 2. Now, moving on to the standard or the low end Elastico 2, this is where the quality definitely takes a big dip coming from the 2 higher end models. You're going to get at the front of the boot what appears to be leather, but it's actually just a relatively cheap synthetic material. It's not overly thick, it's not overly thin, it does have a slight padding to it, and it is relatively soft, if I'm completely honest with you guys. Definitely doesn't feel premium, but this is one of those shoes that to me is significantly better in quality and touch when compared to something like a Mercurial Victory 4 indoor, Hypervenom Felon indoor, even a Libretto indoor. The quality of the synthetic, the quality of the fit, and the overall feel of the shoe when it comes to touch is to me a lot better with the Elastico model than some of those not necessarily made for indoor Nike soccer shoes like the Victories, the Felons, the Librettos, whatever model you're looking at there. So again, this is definitely a better option if you ask me. You're going to get a padded mesh tongue, and then this kind of midfoot area is made again from a padded mesh material. There's really no ventilation there. And again, the quality isn't fantastic, but in terms of providing a relatively decent touch at a more of a budget price range, I should say, this is definitely going to do the job for you. Next, I want to talk about the outsoles of all the models in the Elastico line. Now, before I go any further with the details, there's a couple things that I want everybody to know. The first thing is that all three of these shoes provide very little underfoot cushioning. In the forefoot on all three models, there is no extra cushioning other than what's provided by the insole. There's no foam there whatsoever, and pretty much on all three models as well, you're going to just have a very small amount of foam under your heel. For the most part, you're very close to the ground, which makes for a responsive feel. But like I said, if you're one of those people that requires a lot of underfoot cushioning or prefers more underfoot cushioning, impact protection I should say, then the Elastico line is definitely something to stay away from. Probably take a look at the Gato line from Nike. It's going to be way more up your alley. The other thing that I wanted to mention is that these are more or less designed strictly for indoor court playing surfaces. Should you use any of these three shoes on concrete or any outdoor playing surface, I did find that the type of rubber that was used does wear away fairly quickly. So just be aware that if you do choose to use these for street soccer, if you will, the soles will wear out relatively quickly. Now, with all of that being said, let's start off with the Elastico Finale 2, which features this kind of segmented traction pattern, I would say. You're going to have this dot pattern here on the inside of the forefoot, the dot pattern on the outside of the heel, and then a variation on herringbone on the outside of the forefoot, and then that same pattern here on the inside of the heel. This particular area to me is the best in terms of traction of the entire shoe. I wish that they would have made the entire traction pattern of this type of rubber in this type of pattern, but instead they went with this dot pattern that they kind of promote as a touch element for controlling the ball. To me, rubber is rubber in terms of how it feels against the soccer ball, and I really didn't like this dot pattern all that much. The traction, to me at least, would have been a lot better if they kept it all one pattern. But for the most part, if you are on a relatively clean court, you are going to get some pretty decent traction out of the Elastico Finale 2. Now moving on to the Elastico Pro 2, this is essentially a recycled outsole. It's the exact same outsole we found on the original Elastico Pro, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but with that being said, this isn't my personal favorite traction pattern either. Again, you're going to get somewhat of a variation on it, what I would call herringbone. It's more or less kind of these random patterns, if you will, with varying kind of angles and varying thicknesses of rubber. It's not particularly flexible, it's relatively hard, which will allow it to hold up pretty well on indoor court playing surfaces in terms of durability. But when it comes to traction, unless you're on a relatively clean court, again, you're probably going to slip around a little bit just because it does hold dust pretty well, and like most indoor court shoes, they're just not that great when it comes to overall traction. And then you have this pattern here through the midfoot, which again seems a little bit silly to me. It should have just been all of this type of pattern and the traction would have been much better. But again, they promote these little dots for touch on the ball, and to me it's not really a significant feature of the Elastico line at all. Now moving on to the Elastico 2, again this is a recycled outsole from the original Elastico model. Again, the traction pattern isn't all that great. The grooves are relatively close together, so the rubber is not very flexible. And unless you are on a relatively clean court, the traction isn't going to be anything more than average, I would say. So again, as a whole, I wouldn't say that there's anything particularly special about any of these three traction patterns, but if I had to pick one as my favorite, it definitely would be the top-end Elastico Finale 2. When it comes to weight, the Elastico line is very light in comparison to other indoor models. That is mainly due to the lack of midsole on, again, all three models of these shoes. So while you get that lightweight feel, you're not getting very much impact protection under your feet. Now we're going to weigh all of these pairs in real time. This is the Elastico Finale 2 in a size 9 US. We're going to throw it on the scale, and you can see that these guys weigh in at 7.1 ounces, which is exceptionally lightweight for an indoor soccer shoe. So we'll take that off the scale. We'll throw on the Elastico Pro 2. Keep in mind that this pair is a size 9.5 US. We're going to throw it on the scale, and you can see that these guys weigh in at 7.75 ounces. So again, under that 8 ounce mark, which is exceptionally light for an indoor soccer shoe. So we'll take that off the scale, throw on the Elastico 2. Keep in mind that this pair is a 9.5 US as well. Put that there, and you can see that these guys weigh in, again, under the 8 ounce mark at 7.95 ounces. So every single model here is under 8 ounces, which is very light for an indoor soccer shoe. So no matter which model you buy, you're going to get a very lightweight feel. Alright, here is a look at the Elastico Finale 2s as well as the Elastico Pro 2s on feet. From right out of the box, these are both very comfortable shoes. The synthetic on both the Pro and the Finale is extremely flexible from right out of the box, and minimal break-in time is required, to say the least. In terms of fit, while they are tighter fitting shoes overall, I wouldn't say that either one of them is particularly narrow. You will get a little bit of stretch out of the Nike Skin upper on the Finale 2, whereas the Pro 2 really won't stretch all that much. But for the most part, I would say that both of these shoes are relatively suitable for pretty much all foot types. In terms of sizing, this is where you're going to find a little bit of variation. I find that the Elastico Finale 2 runs absolutely true to size. I'm wearing my usual size 9 US, and the fit and the length is absolutely perfect. Whereas with the Elastico Pro 2, because it shares the same outsole as the previous Elastico Pro model, which ran about a half size small, these also run half a size small. So instead of a size 9 US, I went with the 9.5, and the fit and the length is absolutely perfect. So if you're looking at the Finale 2, go true to size. If you're looking at the Elastico Pro 2, go a half size up. Here's a look at the Elastico 2 in comparison to the Elastico Pro 2. And again, while the Elastico 2 doesn't necessarily feature ultra premium materials, the fit has not suffered. It has a very similar shape and feel to that of the Elastico Pro 2 and the Elastico Finale 2. So if you're looking for a high quality fit on a slightly lower budget, this shoe is definitely going to get the job done. And again, in terms of width, it is suitable for a very wide variety of foot types. Also, like the Elastico Pro 2, the sizing does have a little bit of variation because it does share the same outsole as the original Elastico model, which ran half a size small. This one also runs half a size small. So instead of wearing my usual size 9 US, I went up to a 9.5, and the fit and the length is absolutely perfect. So if you are looking to order a pair of these for yourself, I would strongly recommend going a half size up. Alright guys, that's it for my comparison of the Nike FC247 Elastico indoor line. Like I mentioned throughout this video, I think every single model definitely has something to offer, and in their own respective price ranges are definitely among the best options available. I think that if you're looking for a premium barefoot feel, with the best synthetic of any other indoor shoe at this point in time, you can't go wrong with the Elastico Finale 2. If you're on a little bit of a budget, around $60 or so, the Elastico Pro 2, you can pick it up for that price all day long, and it is a very, very good shoe. And if you're on a little bit more of an extreme budget, the Elastico 2 is by far much better than shoes that are going to be similarly priced, and even priced a little bit higher, like the Victories, like the Felons, like the Libretto Indoors, which in all honesty just aren't very good in terms of quality and just overall comfort. So again, every single model has something to offer. If you are interested in more details on any of these three models, be sure to refer to the full written reviews on the review pages of my website. All links down below in the description of this video. If you have any questions about any of the three Elastico models, feel free to leave a comment down below, and I definitely will get an answer out to you. If you enjoyed today's video, be sure to support it with a like. Subscribe if you haven't already for daily videos on all the latest soccer gear. You can find all of my social media information down below in the description as well. And other than that, guys, hope you enjoyed today's video, and as always, thanks for watching.